Coming up on Broncos Connected, President of Football Operations and General Manager John Elway shares some of the biggest hurdles he and his staff faced while compiling the 2020 Denver Broncos training camp roster during a global pandemic. We'll take you inside the UCHealth Training Center to show you some of the technology being used to keep players and staff safe this season. And we'll check in with new Denver Broncos defensive lineman Jurrell Casey to learn how he's adjusting to his new life in Denver. Broncos Connected is next.
Welcome to the UCHealth Training Center for the latest edition of Broncos Connected. I'm Alexis Perry. After an off-season unlike any other, I know I can speak on behalf of Broncos country when I say we are thrilled Training Camp 2020 is officially underway. Over the past few weeks, rookies, quarterbacks, rehabbing players, and veterans have trickled into the UCHealth Training Center to begin to acclimate into football shape after an entirely virtual offseason. Although they were separated into two groups to adhere to social distancing protocols, the players and coaches were excited to get back on the field for walkthroughs and some strength and conditioning drills. Yesterday, the Broncos held their first full-team non-padded practice, with their first full padded practice scheduled for this Monday, August 17th. No one has been looking forward to Training Camp 2020 more than President of Football Operations and General Manager John Elway, who with the help of his staff assembled this current 80-man training camp roster while working away from the facility throughout free agency, the draft, and OTAs. This week, Elway shared with us some of his biggest challenges, as well as some of the benefits that came from working under these unique circumstances.
Well, you always get excited this time of year when you get back into camp, and especially with this being the first day of camp and a little bit more normal than we've seen the last 5 months. And so it was exciting to see them out there running around. I think Drew's had a tremendous offseason. He looked good today. So, you know, we got to take it's baby steps like it is with this pandemic, and it's going to be baby steps with our football team to make sure that each day we're out there, we're taking full advantage of the practice and being able to get better each practice. And so, you know, there's some positive things out there, but bottom line is, you know, we'll find out how good we are when we open it up the first week. And you know, with the youth that we have, I think we have to be cautious offensively and make sure that we give those guys a chance to get a good feel for it. But I think we can make up for that defensively. So we expect to come out of the chute fast. I'm proud about how the players came back. They all came back in good shape. I think that, you know, we've been working our way in training camp with the first group, with the rookies and first-year guys coming in the earliest, and then the vets following up. And, you know, it's been a slow step-by-step process there, but I was really pleased about how everybody came in shape. They were ready to go when they got here. I think they're excited about going when they got here with no off-season, not having seen their teammates. And so everybody was thrilled about being back. The first practice, it was good to see everybody together and working together. And, you know, obviously it's not like another difference in training camp is there's no fans at training camp. So obviously a lot quieter and something we're not used to. But as I said, it was a very good start. And, you know, like the youth we have on the offensive side and defensively, the good veterans that we have over there, but also some youth there that continue to work together. So, you know, it's a short timeline. I think we have 17 practices until we get to game week. And so today being the first one, so we have 16 left. And so we got to take full advantage of all those practices and make sure that each time we're out there, we're getting the full benefit of it. You know, Jerry's come in and been everything that we expected him to be. Obviously, he was a great route runner and knows how to get open and get away from people. You know, KJ Hamler in the second rounder's got great speed, all the speed that we thought he had. And so he's showing some great signs there, too. So Michael Moutier, you know, our third, the corner, I think he's had 5 picks in practice the first 4 or 5 days. And so, you know, he's flashed. And so really the whole class has done a nice job. You know, the hard thing is, it's like, you know, once you get around your teammates, you get in, you get used to it. But with no preseason games, it's going to be hard for those young guys. They're going to jump right in the fray in the opening weekend, and they're going to have to be able to grow up fast. But the start has been great, and we continue, hopefully, just continue to get better and better. be ready to go that first week. We think that Von still has a lot of great football ahead of him. And I think he's had a tremendous offseason, and he has this, with this offseason, turned over a new leaf in the fact of what he thinks he needs to do to get better. And so with that new attitude, mentality, and, wanting to be even a better leader, I think, is all that's going to do is help us. And so it's hard to tell with the first practice out there, but everything that we've seen with Von is, I believe that and look at him and think he's going to have a great year. The whole organization has done a heck of a job of taking this pandemic head on, doing everything we possibly can to keep everybody safe, our players safe, coaches, and everybody else. And so, we'll continue to do that. It's a very, very different year, as you said, but with this pandemic, nothing's easy. And, I think if anything this has done is it made us appreciate what we had, and going forward, always make sure that we don't take things for granted anymore. But, we'll get through this, and, excited about the possibilities of what we have as a football team, even though we're very, very young. The first couple weeks of practice have been tremendous.
Coming up on Broncos Connected, although there's no NFL bubble, we'll take you behind the scenes to show how the Broncos IT department is using advanced technology to keep the players and staff as safe as possible while at work.
Welcome back to Broncos Connected. I'm Alexis Perry. The coronavirus pandemic has forced NFL teams to be resourceful in figuring out ways to keep players and staff members as safe as possible while at the team facility. Thankfully, the Denver Broncos Information Technology Department is staffed with innovative people who have made it their mission to provide a healthy work environment for everyone who steps onto this campus. Russ Trainer, Senior Vice President of Information Technology, explains how they're using technology to check for COVID-19 symptoms and to stop a spread immediately in the event someone contracts the virus.
Normally I have servers and applications and the network, like those are all because we got to have those things running. But right now, actually, the health and safety piece is above that, because if I get sick and I infect other folks, that could affect players, that could affect coaches, then that is detrimental to the team from a performance perspective and time in the office perspective. So really, from an IT perspective, usually we're in our little IT tech geek world on the back end, making sure everything's good. And we make sure the business is running good, but for these systems, it's across ops and security and our COVID-19 task force. It's really kind of hitting all those. As a player, you go in, grab some food, go to the locker room, get prepared for your meetings. Now everybody has a more of a process coming in, but it does keep everybody safe. And so initially, you have a health questionnaire that you come in and ask everybody, have you been around anybody with COVID, and do you got a fever, that kind of thing. And then that morphed into, okay, we got thermal scanners. So at least we're taking everybody's temperature on the WAN. And then that morphed into, okay, let's do a mobile app to make it more efficient as folks come in and we get more and more people showing up for work and the players are coming back. So now we have a mobile app that asks the question. So then it just generates a QR code, and then the QR code is scanned at those same scanners, and then it flips over to take your temperature. And then we also added with the NFL the new Connects on Safe tag system, but everybody on the site here is required to wear one. They just know where the other tag is, and all that data is uploaded every night. And so then we get a report the next day. And so we manage that. We got that up and going. And that was all new tech for, not just new tech for, it was new tech for IT too. So we had to learn how to use it, but new for all the players, all the coaches, the whole staff here. So that has been pretty involved. The whole point of it is to reduce an outbreak, right? So people can get sick. I mean, that's happening, but we're trying to reduce the footprint of that virus when it does occur and get that information over to our infection control officers, which is Greek and Nancy, and then also Vince on Greek's team. We want to get the information to them as fast as we can. So the next morning, if somebody tests positive, then we can actually reduce that footprint of the virus basically in-house and minimize the impact. So the challenge is we weren't doing any of them. These are all brand new. So, and Mike on my team, Mike Corey implemented the scanners for us. And at first we were rolling out, we said, oh, we got everything. We're checking temperatures, we're good. So we moved from like the gun to the actual temperature sensor. We were good there. Then we realized, we got to put the QR, we got to make it easier because we're starting to get a backlog of folks coming up and they got to answer the questions. So we're required to that. So we decided to put it on mobile, and then the trackers hit us. So, but really getting all the systems talking and then getting everybody to use the systems when they come in that was a little bit challenging because it was all new to us. But it's flowing better now. I'm really looking at kicking off football and getting it going. So. Yeah, from a tech perspective, so we would like to get some of the tags, if we can, maybe down to the stadium later on for some of our employees down there. I'll be curious to see what we do from a fan perspective, and how many fans we have in the building, what that looks like, and how I've been so focused on the training center. Now I'm switching gears down to the stadium. I'm going back down. I'm going down there tomorrow, so we're starting to get that rolling. It's kind of turning on the stadium again, because remember, we didn't have any. Normally we have other events throughout the spring and summer. We didn't have that. So our first event is going to be our first home game, Monday Night Football. It's almost like turn on the light switch. And so we got to make sure everything is working down there after we've been dormant for a little while. So that's next on my list, is swinging gears down to the stadium, and then just keeping everything rolling here. So we're getting there. And not just across the Broncos, but across the league itself. And then we collaborate with the other leagues as well. One thing we did in the beginning was look at the scanners. And so I was talking to a couple other NFL clubs, and then we got on a big conference call that we do every week with Microsoft Teams. There's about 180 people on there now from across MLS, NASCAR's on there now, some European leagues. But when we were doing the back to work kind of thing, and this is a couple months ago, we were trading information on what kind of scanners work the best, because I never bought a temperature scanner. And so we had one initially, and then some other folks said, they're okay, but they're not quite as good. And then we got another one that we wound up going with. There has been a couple of collaborative things on the back end, and some operational things as well. Like, hey, we're doing this, so we're trying to get up to speed on getting coverage for the headset. So Rick on my team does all the headsets, and so Chris is learning that whole system. So it's actually opened up some doors to make us better, not just because of the pit, but even in the future to make us a little bit stronger as well. Really, safety is the priority number one for everybody, the players, coaches, staff. So, and from our perspective, whatever we can do to help facilitate keeping people safe, we're doing it.
Still to come on Broncos Connected. We'll catch up with Jurrell Casey to learn how he's settling into his new life in Denver and his new role on the defensive line.
Welcome back to Broncos Connected. Coming to a new city and a new team is never easy, and it's even harder during a pandemic. That was the situation facing Jurrell Casey and his family as they made the move from Nashville, Tennessee this offseason, forcing Casey to get to know his new teammates through a computer screen. Since getting into town, though, Casey has established himself as a leader along the defensive line and is ready to bring the Denver defense back to prominence.
Jurrell Casey, welcome to Broncos country. I know we're still in a virtual world here, but what's it been like for you to be in town for the first time with your new teammates?
Man, it's been a blast. First, to be here with the organization has definitely been top notch. Everybody's been welcoming. Everybody's been, showing their true colors, and that's all you can ask for. People, showing open, extending their hand to you. People, welcoming you in. And the organization's been top notch. So I've been loving it. And, getting down here has just been great. The people here, like I said, the organization is wonderful. So I got no complaints. Everybody's been welcoming me. So, hey, that's all I can ask for.
When you came in, obviously you come in with some credentials because top 100 player last year. Congrats, by the way. That just came out. When you come in with those type of credentials, though, do you feel like that gives you a leg up, or do you feel like that helped illustrate what you're about as a football player?
It definitely shows what I'm about, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't say give me a leg up, because I think that every year is about proving yourself. It's no matter what you do the year before, you got to come in the next year and do it again. And then especially being in a new system, I got to show them that I can catch the playbook, I can understand what's going on, and they know what they expect from my gameplay. They know I'm gonna play hard, I'm gonna do that, but at the end of the day, it's about the mental state. And so that's how I've been attacking it. Get into the playbook, demonstrating that I can understand what they expect out of me in the plays, and just been really trying to get the playbook as much as I can.
You mentioned the playbook. Coach Fangio's a defensive guy. What's it been like being with him in meetings, and how have your expectations of him kind of compared to the reality of these walkthroughs and these meetings with Coach?
It's been great. Everything's been great. He's been, demonstrating that he's a true leader, and that's what you look for into a head coach, someone that can address the room with focus, can get the guys locked in, and that's what I've been seeing around here. So it's definitely gonna be good to see how it is the next couple of weeks.
That defensive front seven, especially with you in the middle, and then you got Vaughn and Bradley Chubb on the edges, does that motivate you, knowing you have those guys on the edge? And what have you seen from those guys in their approach to football?
Oh, definitely, man. Those guys getting out there. I see Chubb all the time in rehab. He's getting it done, ready to get himself back on that field. Vaughn, he's out there. He's at the conditioning period, trying to lead the group. He's in front of everybody, in front of the DBs, running. So when you get those guys out there seeing how hard they work, it just gives you that much more confidence. And the guys in my D-line room, man, the mindsets on them guys, understanding that they know how to play all three positions up front. You got nothing but confidence in that type of ability. So, they got a great defense over here. I'm just happy to be able to add to it.
How much has this run-up period, where we're in positional meetings, workouts, getting some on-field work in before real training camp starts, how much is this helping you kind of get ready, get back into football shape, or did you feel like you could have put on the pads day one?
Man, that's the thing about it. You can never get into football shape until you put on the pads. You can do all the running you want, but until you put those pads on, it takes the first 2 weeks of actual training camp with pads on to be getting into actual football shape. And 2011 when we first had the lockout, a lot of guys getting loose muscle tears, and that was because of no OTAs. So grateful that we got it. You got to take advantage of it as much as you can. Try to build as much camaraderie as we can together through these phases, but you won't get into real shape and get the great feel of football until we put those pads really on.
I know it wasn't really putting the pads on, but I did see you got to put some pads on with the actual jersey for photo day. How much did you enjoy, seeing that orange on for the first time?
Man, it was nice. It was a beautiful fit. I love the helmets. Always look at the Broncos as a top-notch organization, and to be able to be over here and put one of those uniforms on is definitely been great. And putting that uniform on, I look good in it. So I can't say nothing else, man. I look wonderful in that thing, and I'm just looking to make sure my play match it,
I know Broncos country enjoyed seeing you in it, so I'll get you out of here on this one, Jurrell. What is a successful season for you? I know we measure it by wins and losses. That's the bottom line at the end of the day. But for you personally, what do you want to accomplish to make sure, you're in that top 100 again this year and you stay at that level?
Just do what I've been doing every year, man. Finish the season off with 40-plus tackles, 5+ sacks. As long as I can do that, and I'm carrying the guys around me to help them, build their stats and build this defense to be top 5. Hey, that's my goals. And they already was in the top 10 last year. Why not make it top 5? And that's what I do as a leader, is trying to bring everybody around me, bring them up. And as long as I'm bringing them up, I'm gonna be up.
Jurrell, I really appreciate you taking some time. I know I can hear the excitement in your voice. I know you want to be able to put that jersey on and those pads. We can't wait to see you week 1 against the Titans, and I know that's going to be a special game for you as well.
Oh, definitely. Ball season, baby.
All right,
yes,
be
sir.
well, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it.
Coming up after the break, we'll remind you of some of the newest members of the Denver Broncos that you should be watching during training camp.
Thanks for sticking with me for this final segment of Broncos Connected. With the gates at the UCHealth Training Center closed to the public this year, the Denver Broncos wanted to make sure that fans still got a little taste of the training camp experience from home. Be sure to join us for Training Camp Live, presented by Ford at 9:15 every morning the Broncos hit the field. Steve Atwater will be joined by a special guest to share their bird's eye view for all 17 practices currently scheduled now through September 4th. Check it out on our site, the Broncos 365 app, YouTube, and Facebook. Also, Matt Boyer and I will host Training Camp Tonight every weeknight as we take a deep dive into every Broncos training camp practice. Check your local listings for the best plays and best sound bites, because we will have them on Training Camp Tonight right here and on many of the Broncos digital platforms. Although the training camp roster only has 80 players on it this year, there are still many new names, numbers, and faces you should familiarize yourself with before tuning in to our training camp live and television programming. Here's a look at some of the notable new players wearing orange and blue that might catch your eye during training camp. In years past, the newest members of the Denver Broncos would join their teammates, coaches, alumni, and executives to kick off the season and raise funds for Denver Broncos charities at the annual kickoff luncheon. Due to the current health crisis, the Broncos will not be hosting this event live. However, there is still a way you can get involved. Head to dbron.co/auction to bid on items such as a virtual hangout with wide receiver Cortland Sutton and his dog Brody, a Drew Lock autographed authentic helmet, and so much more. 100% of the proceeds benefit Denver Broncos charities. Well, that does it for this month's edition of Broncos Connected, but be sure to follow us on Twitter at Broncos TV and stay connected with the Broncos anytime on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and the Broncos 365 app. We'll see you next time.